Now we have returned to the Dvar Malchut, the royal words of the Rebbe, a speech that the Rebbe gave in 1991, talking about Moshiach and the redemption, how this is related to our Torah, the portion that we learn, Shlach. So the Rebbe pointed out that there's the Torah portion that we read is talking about how Moses sent 12 scouts into the land of Israel, and they came back and accomplished exactly the opposite of the purpose for which they were sent. They were sent into Israel to inspire and excite the Jewish people about coming into the land of Israel by means of explaining to the Jews how beneficial the land is, how productive it is, how fruitful it is, how wonderful it is, how, how blessed the land is, and etc. Instead, they came back and they said, all these things are true. It's blessed, it's wonderful, it's fruitful, but the people that live there are huge and they're really scary. And there's a lot of them. And our humble opinion is we got no chance against them. And our advice is stay in the desert, stay put. Shava al tasa'adif. Right? Don't do anything. How do you say what's the saying? If something's not broken, don't fix it. We're in the desert. Nothing is wrong in the desert. What's wrong? What could be possibly better than being in the desert? We're reminded of God's presence all the time. We're reminded constantly that we're the Jewish people. We're special. We're unique. God took us out of Egypt. He's protecting us in the desert with clouds around us, surrounding us, and giving us water from a rock and bread from heaven. We're Jews. We are the Jews. And we are special, and we are chosen. And we are different from everybody else. We're in the desert, but if we go into the land of Israel, we're going to be just like everyone else, and we're going to be devoured by the land. We're going to have to work. We're going to have to sweat. We're going to have to make efforts. Maybe there's not going to be success. Maybe there will be success, but maybe not. In the desert, there's no worries. We don't have to worry about plowing or planting. Will the crops come in? Will there be water? God just gives us manna all the time. Right? And in the desert, we got money. They came out of Egypt. They had all sorts of riches with them. So let's stand. Who's giving us water? Huh? Who's giving us water in the desert? No, let's hear it. God, right. Who's giving us bread and from heaven? God. Who's protecting us? God. Whose Torah are we learning? God's Torah. So that's in the desert. We're going to go into the land of Israel. What is everybody going to say? Who's giving us bread? Who's giving us food? Me. I have to work hard. I have to plow on it. Who's giving us water? Me. I had to dig the wells. I had to do it. Who's protecting us? Our army is protecting us. You want to do that? Everybody said, no. We're staying in the desert. So that's exactly the opposite of what God wanted, and exactly the opposite of Moses would want it, right? So big mistake to send in the spies. 40 years later, Joshua does the same thing, but he succeeds. He sends in 2 people, and they come back and they convince and they support Joshua, and they go and they conquer the land of Israel. Okay, what's the difference? So we don't know yet. We're going to see. But we do know that there's a lot of other differences except for the number, and the Rebbe compares. Moses sent 12, one for each tribe, and they went around 40 days in the land of Israel, and all of them all together saw the whole entire land. They didn't separate 40 days. The spies and they did it in an advertised way. Everybody knew they were leaving. All the Jews knew they were leaving. All the Jews knew they're coming back. And they didn't even hide themselves from the inhabitants of Canaan. They didn't hide themselves. They went all together, one big group. They didn't put on camouflage or go one at a time or separate them. That's one difference. Another difference is that Moses sent out 12. Joshua sent out 2. Moses sent them out advertised. Joshua sent quietly. Moses sent them out to survey the whole land. 40 days they were in Israel. Joshua sent, they were barely there even one night. Barely there in the land of Israel. And they didn't survey anything. They just got to the edge and they left. And they succeeded. Says the Rebbe, the fact of the matter is that both of them succeeded. Moses sent in his scouts in order to come back and tell how good the land was, and that's what they did. They thought they threw in their own thing about, but it's scary, don't go. Okay, that was their business, but they did succeed in what Moses sent them to do, namely to describe the tremendous greatness and wonder and blessing of the land of Israel. They succeeded. They just threw in their own thing that it's the people that are scary, don't go in. Joshua, on the other hand, he didn't send them for that purpose. He sent them for another purpose. Conquer the land. Go in, and we just want to hear what's the attitude of the people. Are the people in Canaan afraid of us or not? That's all. Sent in 2 men, and they said, the people in Canaan are scared witless. Huh? The nice way to say it. They're out of their wits with fright from what the Jews did 40 years earlier when you split the sea and went out of Egypt. They're scared. And Joshua said, that's what I wanted to hear. Okay, what's that got to do with us? We'll see. Alpisa, according to this, it's answered a big wonder about the story about the Meraglim, about the spies. Mavur, in many places, is explained in many places about the greatness and the high quality of these scouts that Moses sent. And even in the Torah, it says, Kulam Anashim, all of them are important people. All of them were important, well-known people. At that time, when Moses sent them, they were all perfect. Ksherim. Roshi Alfei Israel, they were the heads of the thousands of Israel. Right? All of them were like, I don't know, senators, whatever you want to call it, governors. Each one was the head of a tribe. They were the heads of thousands. These were special, talented, brave, that you call it the honest Jews. Moses picked the best, cream of the crop. They were chosen from all of the other Jewish people. Mina berurim shebechem, mina mesulatim shebehem. From the choice of them, from the, another word from the choice, from the soul, it means like the finest of you. Hayu Medrega Gavoa, the 12 scouts that Moses sent in were a very high level of devotion to God and to the truth and to this. The low Ratsu, and they didn't, but they exactly that was the problem. They didn't want to bring themselves down to doing physical things. Shehu Bechinas Hamshachat or Ensof, they didn't want to draw godliness into the world. Now, like we just finished learning, an arousal from above that comes by means of an arousal from below. They didn't want that. They already said, listen, we're high enough. The Jewish people are high enough. Ratza, they wanted to be in the desert. When we stay in the desert, everybody's holy like us. Maybe we're a little bit better, but we don't care about that. Well, the main thing is we don't want to bring all the Jewish people down to such a low level that we're going to be like Canaanites. We're going to be working in the land and having an army and stuff like that. Who wants that stuff? We want to stay in the desert. That in the desert, everything they did was learning Torah. It was given in the desert. They were in a situation, in the desert, they didn't have to deal with the world. Including a person that he plows, another person's going to have to plant. What's that got to do with sitting and learning Torah? To the degree, even after the sin, Ne'amar says, It says in Sanhedrin that they don't have a place in the world to come. The people, these 12 scouts, they don't have a place in the world to come. What does it mean? It means they don't have a place in the that their level is higher as yoter. They're higher than the world to come. They're higher than any spiritual levels. These people are great. Look, and therefore, ein olam haba together schar avuram. The whole idea of going to heaven is not a reward for them. They got heaven on earth. It's better they can sit in the Torah and learn Torah, do the will of God in this physical world. It's like the raising of the dead for them. They were there at such a tremendously high level. Says the Rebbe, that is exactly their point. Okay, now just have to remember something. There's really nothing higher than learning the Torah. Learning the Torah is very important. That's a big argument that's going on in Israel. Okay, I think it sort of went off the tracks a little bit, but nevertheless, the Israeli government officially has no value for the Torah at all. It just happens to be that there's a portion of Jews that they want to learn the Torah all the time. So you have to, how do you say, you have to tolerate them. So they learn Torah, right? If those Jews would have said, listen, we want cucumbers, that's what we want. We want fried cucumbers. They would give them fried cucumbers. They care about fried cucumbers. That's how much they care about the Torah. They don't care about the Torah. But there are constituents. There's always going to be these Jews that are just really stubborn and they want to learn the Torah. But the fact of the matter is that the learning of the Torah is a tremendous blessing and power, and it's the secret of success of the Jewish people. Good, you have to have an army. You have to have an army. Jewish people always had an army, right? Except for the 2,000 years that they were in exile, where the only thing protecting us was the Torah. And, I maybe you could say it didn't do a very good job, but it did a better job than the army did on October the 7th. Right? It's a tragedy, terrible tragedy. So you don't have the Torah, you don't have any value of the Jewish people or really of anything. You have the Torah. But main thing is learning the Torah is a blessing. It brings blessing into the world, learning the Torah. And there's nothing higher than that. God took the Jews out of Egypt only in order to receive the Torah on Mount Sinai. Giving the Torah. The Torah is pure godliness. That's what happened on Sinai. God could have just given the Torah to Moses, a book. All the other religions are based on one guy that comes and says, I've got a book, I have a dispensation, I have a revelation, right? I'm telling you what to do, and everybody believes it. God could have done that with Moses also. No. God wants all the Jews to know that the Torah is pure godliness. It's given at Sinai. It's pure essence reality. The creator of reality. That's what the Torah is. When we learn the Torah here, that also brings this into the world, but not so much into the physical world as the commandments. The commandments bring it even more. And Korach and his people, they said, we don't need the commandments. Good, I mean, commandments might accomplish more, but it's not worth it what we're going to lose. Right? It's not worth the investment. We're going to have to invest all of our peace of mind and our sitting and learning Torah day and night, which is a tremendous blessing, just to do a couple of commandments. Right? So that was the big mistake of Korach. Okay, but the people of Korach, they really, it's not that they were afraid to come to the land of Israel. It's not that they didn't want to do the commandments. It's just that they didn't want to leave the holiness of the Torah, the preciousness. They really felt how really holy and precious it is. The Torah. So therefore it says that they, even going to heaven for them is nothing. They don't want to go to heaven. Their level was even higher than heaven. And from this tremendously high and holy level that they had came a big mistake. And that's a mistake. Okay, says the Rebbe. Ain't no moving. It's not understood. After the great wonder, highness of these 12 scouts, how could it be possible that Moses sent them and there was such a tragic outcome? The Poel actually, everything that came out of them from their tremendously good motives and their wonderful high personalities and soul levels and everything, how could it be that everything that came out was only bad? Everything that came out was bad. Says the Rebbe, we can say that what we said before, that in fact, it wasn't only bad what came from them. There was a big benefit, toelet, ratsuya, a very good benefit result that came from sending these 12 scouts that Moses sent. Why? When they came back and when they said, we come to the land of Israel, which you sent us there, and also Zvat Chalava Davash, and it is flowing milk and honey, Vizeh Pirya, and this is its fruits. The Jewish people knew clearly and certainly, Lo Rak Be'amuna, not just in a way of faith. Up to now, they were in the desert, and Moses said, you see what it says in the Bible? That the Torah is wonderful, that Israel is wonderful, and it's flowing milk and honey, and that the fruits are big, and that, right, flowing milk and honey simply means that all the cows and the goats, that they have so much milk that it's just flowing out, and honey is talking about the sweetness of the fruits. There's a lot of different meanings of it, but that's Hasidut explains a little deeper way. The milk is God's kindness, and that honey is God's severity, and that everything is good in the land of Israel. They came back and they told the Jewish people, you don't have to believe it anymore. You don't have to believe it. We saw it. We saw it. We know it's there. Right? We know it's there. Look in our eyes. You're seeing eyes that saw the bounty, the blessing of the land of Israel. Yadu, and they knew Zehoilu Pola Polatom. And therefore their good things that they said had a good effect. La'achrei Meshech Zman, but had only a good effect when Joshua came along. When they came and went into the land of Israel with Joshua. The Jewish people always remembered, and they passed down to their children, the land of Israel. We're going to go in one day, and this is a place you don't find fruits like that. You don't find blessing like that anywhere in the world. The air is pure. Everything is peaceful. It's so wonderful. It's a place that just makes you want to just do more good. Think more good. Say more good. The land of Israel is holy. So why don't we go in, Daddy? Let's learn some more Torah first, and then I'll answer that question. Well, only when Joshua came along did Joshua said, that's it. You've been talking about how great the land is. You know how great the land is. Let's go. Sha'olu b'simcha. Then they went with great joy, with tremendous pleasure, because of the words, the report of the 40 years earlier of the scouts that Moses said that they saw the good. In a little bit deeper way, according to a little bit of the mystery of this, or the, what do you say, the secrets of the whole thing, Kabbalah, that when Moses sent these 12 scouts to survey the land of Israel, it accomplished something even bigger. Not only after 40 years, when all of a sudden the Jewish people said, hey, let's go in and see this land that 40 years ago they said it was good. Said, no, but Otosha. When they came back, something really good happened. What was it? Kehiduk, like it says, Rashi said, Otosha kasherim oyu. Like it says, at that time, when Moses sent them, they were perfect human beings, perfect Jews. They were perfect in their faith and their talents and everything, and their integrity. Hatchalat u'petichat kivush u'knisat le'eretz al yedei ben Israel. This is the beginning of Jews being in the land of Israel. These 12 spies, these 12 scouts that Moses sent in, were the first Jews that went into the land of Israel with the intention of staying. Huh? When did this happen? It happened 2,488 years after the world was created, 40 years after the Torah was given. The Jews went into the land of Israel. They went into the land of Israel. That was 40 years after the Torah was given, right? What, like 1.5 years, something like that, after the Torah was given, that's when the spies went in. So if so, in the year 2,440, I guess 9.5 or something, 9, that's the first time Jews, in the history of the world, Jews entered the land of Israel to stay there. First time in this world. Who were these Jews? The 12 scouts. They opened up the door. We can even say even more, a little, make it even more spicy. This whole idea of conquering and entering the land of Israel, and especially by preceding, sending in these scouts, this Mudgash is stressed the idea of refining the entire world, the entire creation. Don't stay in the desert. Work in the physical world. The Indian said this is stressed especially when you go into the land of Israel with joy and with tremendous desire, katotza, and this was a result of the sending in of the scouts of Moses, that they saw the goodness of the land of Israel with their own fleshy eyes. That the joy and the desire that they had wasn't only because of faith in God. I'm telling you it's good. No, but they actually know there were Jews that came into the land of Israel and they came back with a good report in the physical world. So if so, we have two things that the scouts of, it's very interesting that how God made the thing. I mean, God made it that the world, as soon as Adam ate, if Adam wouldn't have eaten from the tree, then none of these problems would be here, none of these problems. But on the other hand, God wants there to be problems, and he wants us to deal with them, to meet with them, meet moded, like it says, to meet the problems, meet the challenges, to challenge the challenges, to defy and transform the world. The world is very challenging. It's very difficult. So the beginning of this whole process was when Moses sent the spies into the land of Israel. Let me answer this thing. I want this over here. That's what it means when Rashi says that those scouts that Moses sent in, they were kosher. What does it mean that they were kosher? It doesn't say that they were tzaddikim, that they were righteous, that they were holy. Kosher is the first letters of kamotze shalal rav. It's a sentence in Psalms. It's one of the Psalms of Psalm 119, right? Let's see if this is right. We go 119. 119. It's also found what's this? Oh, I see. It's Psalm number 119, sentence 162. So Psalm, the Psalm 119 is in alphabetical order. There's 8 sentences for each one of the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. So this comes out in sentence number 100. So Sas Anochim, near the end. Sas Anochim, I am happy with your commandments, like one who finds a great spoils of war. Spoils of war. Kemotze shalal rav, like finding spoils, Kemotze, like finding bountiful spoils of war. Shalal rav. Shalal, the word shalal means like spoils, right? You know, you conquer a country, the spoils go to the victor, belong the spoils, says. Dvar shahaya tchila, spoils of war means riches that first of all were in the hands of the enemy and those who oppose you, and they are taken in war. That's one of the things God made in the world. War. War. Diamonds. Let's take an example. Diamonds, gold. Where do diamonds and gold come from? Where do they come from? You have to dig in the ground. They're not laying on the streets. If they were, it wouldn't be worth anything. They're laying in the ground. You have to work hard. You have to fight against the concealment of the ground. And you have to dig, getting pearls from the ends and going down in the deep depths of the sea. You have to dig. And once you dig, you have to defy the concealment. And then you find the diamonds. The same thing is, that's how God made the world. The land of Israel had to be conquered. And we're still conquering it right now. Not just the land of Israel, the whole entire world has diamonds in it, has precious, is filled with holiness, godliness. That's the idea of education. What's education? Education means fighting against ignorance. Naturally, people are ignorant. right? Whoever made that song, "Teachers Leave the Kids Alone," should be reprimanded, because ideally, I mean, maybe what they're teaching kids in school is, just increases the darkness. But ideally, it's supposed to be that people are born ignorant and they're covered with egotism and misconceptions about the world. And you're supposed to educate them that there is such a thing as morals, and there's conscience, and there's good, and there's bad, and there's ways to improve the world. Ideally, that's what university is supposed to be. You go to university in order to know how to improve the world, more justice, more health, right? More beauty, more, etc. Okay. And so that's what it means. Shalal means taking spoils of war. But often shall mitzia, and it's a way of kamotze, like finding. What does it mean, finding? Finding means you didn't, it's a surprise. Wait, look what I found. Hainu, shalal is shalom be'erich lavodato v'yagia tova milchama. He went and he made a war against this country, whatever, and suddenly he finds $1 billion. $1 billion for each and every soldier, $1 billion. Who would have thought of that, right? Usually soldiers come back from the war. This guy has like a samurai sword, or he's got a Luger or something like that. But he comes back. No, everybody gets $1 billion. Where'd you get that from? He says that's what's called shalal rav. That's what's called coming back with tremendous riches. The ribui gadol, the ribui she'in l'may le'menu, with a tremendous there's a word, bountifulness. Anyway, tremendous the quantity and quality that there's nothing better than it. She'ein nikra rav b'amitit b'shlemot. That's why it's called, the Azan is called great, right? He comes back from the war and he says, look what I found, a bunch of rhinestones, really nice, look how they shine. Someone says, hey man, those things are genuine diamonds and rubies. Each one is worth $1 million. Each one is worth, right? Amazing. That's called shalal rav. He came back with spoils of war, but they were worth more, and they were more valuable and plentiful than they could have imagined. That's the whole idea of the spies. They went into the land of Israel. They never dreamed it was so holy. That's what it means at that time, kosherimu. That's what it means that the scouts that Moses sent in were kosher. What does it mean, kosher? Shetochen shlichotam, that the whole purpose and the whole theme of sending them into the land of Israel as a beginning of the conquering and the settling of the Jewish people, that they should go in with joy and with happiness. This is birur atachton, means refining the entire physical world in such a way, it's kamotzal shalal rav, that you find tremendous riches. What are the riches in our case? Who would dream that doing things in this world makes God happy? Makes God happy, right? If you learn even a little bit of Chassidut about what God is, you realize how insanely ridiculous that statement is, but it's true. When you do use in this world what God wants, it makes God happy. We'll see. That's what it means. You find a tremendous riches, spoils. Shazui Kalol, that's the whole idea of conquering and going into the land of Israel in order to work with refining the world, this physical world. And when you make this physical world into a dwelling in the lower world, you make God revealed here. Al Yadezeh, by means of this, then is Shalal Rav, then is really finding a tremendous, they say, bountiful in quality and in quantity riches. Kataskafia, when there is forced, when you control the sitra acha, the forces of concealment, and you transform darkness to light, then the light of Ein Sof, the infinite light of God, shines in this dark place, and the dark place and the place which opposes God, and the whole entire world. Just look and see how dark the world is, right? Like the world is. The people say, right, free Palestine. What does it mean, free Palestine? Palestine belongs to the Hamas. Israel, Hamas. What is Hamas? The word Hamas itself means destruction. They proudly call themselves that. Hamas means destruction. So these people are devoted to murder and to destroying and to raping and to killing and to torturing. And these people. And where are they supposed to live? Where are they supposed to live? Not in jail. Not in jail. Not in hell. Not in whatever it is in what do you say, in the stocks, put them in the stocks in the middle of this. No, the Holy Land is theirs. There's the ones that really belong. Israel belongs to them. I mean, is there anything that could be possibly more ridiculous than that? How could it possibly be more? Right? It's like taking a $100 million. There's a Mona Lisa picture. Mona Lisa. It's in, where is it now? In France, I think. Mona Lisa. They say it's priceless. There's no value to it. So, well, let's give this Mona Lisa, let's give it to pigs. We'll put it in the pig stand. And I think it's nice that the pigs should use this for, they can walk on it and they can do whatever. What are you talking about? That picture is worth like $2 billion is not enough. What are you doing? What do you mean what we're doing? Mona Lisa belongs to the pigs. We're putting in the pig stand. Why should they have to go to the bathroom on the ground all the time? Let them go. Are you nuts? Are you out of your mind? How can you do it? The whole world says, no, that's what we have to do. The Holy Land belongs to the... Could there be any... I mean, that's much more ridiculous. The example I just gave was a mild comparison, right? The fact of the matter is it's infinitely more, how do you say, ridiculous to say that the Holy Land, which is here only in order to bring blessing and godliness to the whole world, despite what the Zionists and people say. The fact of the matter is the Jewish people are holy, and the land of Israel is holy. And the commandments can only really be done in the land of Israel to make the whole world holy. That's why there's going to be a holy temple in Israel. You know what holy means? You have no idea until the Jews are all in Israel. Then you're going to see what holy, how good it is, how amazingly benefit and precious every human being is to God. That's going to be opened up when the Jews are in Israel doing the commandments. Huh? That's called Motzi Shalal Rav. That's called bringing a tremendous spoils of war. When we transform this world, well, Pratios Yoter in more details, there's two ways that you can do this, that you can accomplish this. Two ways that you can accomplish transforming the entire world by bringing the Jews into Israel doing the commandments. How? Two ways. And they join, each one complements the other one. The way that Moses did it and the way that Joshua did it. Sending the scouts of Moses, 12, each one for each tribe, and sending the scouts of Joshua, sending two people alone. Okay, first of all, let's explain. This is now it's starting to get relevant to me and you. First of all, let's explain the necessity of sending 12 scouts, each scout representing his tribe. Now, for those people who don't know, the Jewish people are called Bnei Yisrael. Bnei Yisrael, Yisrael is a name that Jacob, the three fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob got this name after he defeated an angel. He retains both names, Jacob and Israel. Israel had 12 sons. 12 sons. Okay, there's another way of figuring it out because, anyway, he had 12 sons. Good. Excuse me. 12 sons. And these 12 sons became the 12 tribes. They became the 12 tribes. Levi is really not counted as one of the 12 tribes. They didn't get a portion of the land of Israel. Levi didn't get a portion of the land of Israel, the tribe of Levi. But instead, the tribe of Joseph was divided into two, Manasseh and Ephraim. So it ended up being 12. So there's 12. The land of Israel was apportioned into 12 different areas. In each area lived that particular tribe. The Levites were scattered around. They had 48 different cities around. The Levites were devoted to God, Levites. But okay, so there was 12 different tribes. 12 different tribes. And these 12 different tribes, each one had their leader, and he who was appointed to go into the land of Israel and scout the place out, in order that each and every leader of the tribe should see his portion of his tribe in the land of Israel. Huh? And they'll all come back together, and each leader of the tribe would go and talk to his tribe. We talked about that before, in the language they understood, in the expressions that they understood. You know, he's one of us, and they would, because each one had a different nature, also the 12 different tribes. Okay, so Panemius Inyan. If we're talking about, let's talk about the spiritual aspect of this, because the land of Israel was divided into 12 divisions, and that corresponds to the 12 different tribes of Israel. Asher kol sheva, that each individual tribe of Israel had its own way of serving God. Shalakol shevet, that each one of the different tribes had its own way of serving God. One was more with prayer. All were according to the Torah, right? Everybody. But one was more prayer-oriented, and one was more Torah-oriented, and one was more this aspect of the Torah and that aspect of the Torah, and more this aspect of prayer and that aspect of prayer. One was more good deeds. All of them did all of it, but they had different personalities. The Dugma, for instance, the dividing of the land of Israel, the dividing in general of all the Jewish people, Yisachar and Zevulun. There's two ways of dividing it. Those were two tribes. But generally, you can divide the Jewish people into Yisachar and Zevulun. Yisachar, they sat and learned Torah. And Zevulun, they were more in business. Mari Torah, but Mari Ovdim Tovim. There were those Jews that they were good at learning Torah, and there were others that they were good at doing good deeds. They were friendly. They did good deeds. And the other Jews, they sat and learned Torah, but they were friendly. But when someone came and said, "Can I learn Torah?" They're sure, of course. And the ones that did good deeds, they were all good at learning Torah also. But if they were doing good deeds, can I learn Torah? Sure, let's sit and learn Torah, right? But everybody did everything. But some of them were more directed and expert at this aspect of Judaism, and others at that. Al-Derek says similarly, but Nokia dividing up the land of Israel. Each one had its own nature. And in accordance with this, yesh lo gam chelek echad miyud beit chalakei haaretz. Each one of these different tribes had their own part of the land of Israel. That refining that part of the land of Israel is relevant in the service of that tribe. Huh? Israel, by the way, is a very interesting country. It's got everything. I don't know if there's any other country like that. Maybe there is. I don't know. But in Israel, there's got mountains, and they have valleys, and they have deserts, and they have streams, and they have rivers, and it's on the ocean, and on the other hand, it's everything that it could be is in the land of Israel. All the different types of the weather, vegetation, climate. In serving the different service, which is for each one of the 12 tribes of the Jewish people. Like it says, Yachad, Shiftei Israel, all of them together. This, together, they could refine the 12 aspects of the land of Israel. And that makes the whole land of Israel refined. Kol Prati Chalkos, all of the details of how this is divided up is in each and every detail of this whole entire world. The entire world, which was created for the sake of the Jewish people. What does it mean for the sake of the Jewish people? For the sake of the Jewish people to refine, to benefit, to bless. Kavan She'eretz Yisrael, the whole idea of the land of Israel, this includes in it all of the entire world. According to this, so we have to understand the reason why each one of that's when the Moshiach is going to bring, first of all, he's going to bring all the Jews to do Torah and the commandments. Moshiach is going to bring the Jews to do all the Torah and the commandments according to the Talmud, according to the Shulchan Aruch. And then the Jews are going to be interested in doing the commandments. He's going to bring the third temple down, and then the Jews will be able to do all the commandments, because without the temple, and without being in Israel, you can't do all the commandments. So then there's going to start, and when the Jews are all in Israel, then the world is going to start being refined. I mean, there's certain things in the world that drive me crazy. I don't want to go into this too much, But the treatment of the whole world to Africa is just mind-wrenching, boggling. Nobody cares. These people there, they get what is it, the El Shabab or these other places, the Boca Raton, all these what's called the terrorist Muslim organizations. They kill people over there like flies, and nobody cares. No one cares. Right? And France rapes the place, and England rapes them. They take all the riches, and and no one cares about it at all. Right? What do they care about? Oh, the Jews, what the Jews did with the Arabs, the Jews did with it. Even if, let's say, it was true, which is not true, what the Israelis are doing to the Arabs, let's say every word that they say in the United Nations is 100% true. Really, it's 100% false. But let's say it's true. Okay, so why are you only interested here? That same thing that you say is Jews are doing here, other people are doing everywhere in the world. Iran just killed like 40,000 people for no reason, just machine gunned them in the streets. Nobody cares. Somebody said we have to. No, makes no difference. The whole thing is the world is insane. If the Jewish people all live in the land of Israel and make the world holy, then man will have an absolute value. It doesn't make any difference what color his skin is or his eyes are, or whether his IQ is high or it's low, or he's a talented, whatever. It makes no difference. Every human being is precious, made in the image of God. Everyone will care about everyone else. Everyone will be interested only in benefiting others, not only themselves. That's why we start off these classes with giving charity. Okay, that every one of the 12 tribes of Israel has a part. Therefore, they scouted out the land of Israel, not only the part which is relevant to his tribe, like it's known that the part that Jacob blessed before he died in Parshas Vayechi, the end of the book of Genesis, that Jacob blessed each one of his sons with that area where he would live. Elagam achalakim, the Sharashvatim, that it refined also not just his part, but also all the others as well. Kivan Shavodasam, since this service of each and every tribe was to benefit all of the others. Umaya to'elet, and what is it that's why all the tribes went around all together. They didn't separate, and each saved time, and each representative went to his part of the land and came back. No, they all went to see the whole thing together. It took them 40 times as much. It took them 12 times as much time. It took 12 times as long. Instead of each one just separating and seeing his part, the 12 scouts that Moses sent, they all went all together to see each and every one of the whole thing. Why? Because the service of each and every one of them was relevant to each and every other one of the tribes. And therefore, it's relevant to each part of the world. The Rebbe said the explanation is simply that each and every one of the heads of the tribes, the leaders of the princes or the presidents of the tribes that were sent in, also the part of Israel which is relevant to him was relevant to all the other tribes because of the commandment, love your friend as yourself. Since that all of the Jewish people are like one big body, and they are all responsible for one the other, and they're all mixed in, so it's like one big body. So if one Jew takes care of his part, it benefits everybody. And even more, by means of uniting all of the Jewish people and all of the different tribes, and that each one went and saw the whole entire land of Israel, it made even a higher way. Why? Because each leader did not only worry about his particular area, each leader had to worry about his particular area first, but after that, all of the others together. The highest level of the Jewish people, unification of all of the Jews, above any division of the different types of Jews. This reaches a level of godliness which is above any division. Like this level of godliness, which is the essence of God, which can be drawn into every detail of the world, as we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow.